Band of Sometimes.
So, hello once again. It's been a while since one of these just you and me videos. I thought if I'm gonna do a sit down video, I might as well show off our new Band of Sometimes house. Due to certain reasons, we left our previous guild, which you would have known as MM. That was our previous tag, Moogle Management. we don't acknowledge what it was before that. But yeah, we left Moogle Management, and we are now in our own Band of Sometimes house in a new neighborhood with new neighbors and everything. So yeah, from now on, if you see us in this house, this is our guild house. We are on Hyperion. Yeah, Hyperion. We're on Hyperion. So if you ever want to come say hello, come say hello. Don't go in. Ignore the Lalafels worshipping Orgephant, and yeah, have a good time. But anyway, let's get into what I really want to talk about. So for anyone who's been in the Final Fantasy community, there's been a discussion that's been happening over the past week. You should also know about a video relating to that discussion that's been happening. Now, before I actually get into talking about everything, I just want to say a few things. One, I am not going to be discussing that video in particular, because I feel like other Final Fantasy creators have already discussed that in a much better capacity than I can or will or have or whatever, so I'm not gonna discuss the video. I'm skipping over that. Number two, that video uses a very contentious figure to make its point. And I promised some of the other members of the Band of Sometimes that I wouldn't use that figure to talk about them, because there's video evidence of that figure's statements being absolute hypocrisy. And by talking about that, it sort of poisons the point of the discussion. So I mean, I don't want to include that figure's comments in the discussion, because I made a promise, and in truth, the less we talk about them, the better the discussion can be had, right? Final thing I want to say is, this is my opinion, like my opinion. This is not a community opinion. This is not a Band of Sometimes opinion. It is my mech's opinion. Get it? Got it? Great. So, with all the disclaimers tucked away, let's get into what I'm gonna talk about. It's three things mainly. One, is the Final Fantasy community unwelcoming to WoW players? Two, should people who don't play Final Fantasy XIV for story be ridiculed or shamed? And three, Final Fantasy XIV fans are bad at accepting criticism of the game. So to answer the first question, no. I don't think so. I mean, a few of the Band of Sometimes members are ex-WoW players. They've played WoW for years, and none of them have been made to feel unwelcome. At least I hope not. I hope I'm not a prick. And even if I am a prick, I hope I'm a lovable prick and not a disgusting one. But I mean, if me saying it isn't enough, you can just hop onto the Final Fantasy XIV Reddit, and there is a plethora of just WoW refugees coming in and talking about how they felt so welcomed and they love the experience and it's a whole new world. Aladdin. And I mean, there's enough evidence to say that just plain isn't true, that we're unwelcoming to WoW players. However, at the same time, I realize that within any community, there is going to be gatekeeping, and gatekeeping in itself is pretty shitty, and I know there will be people who gatekeep and say, oh wow, it's toxic and its players are toxic, we don't want them here, and as I've been explained, if I'm wrong, please do correct me, because I mean that's what discussion is. Not argument, discussion. Discussion is being open to being corrected. So a lot of people have said, that the environment of WoW does encourage a bit of toxicity, but it's not something that a person keeps. It's not something that, transfers over. And it is a heavy bias to say, WoW players are toxic, we don't want them here. However, I will say that is a very vocal minority, and they're not the voice of the community, they're just ants shouting in the darkness. The second thing I wanted to address: are people who don't play Final Fantasy XIV for the story ridiculed or shamed, and should they be? So to answer the second part, no. They spent money on this game. They continue to spend money on this game. You can't tell people what they do with the money they spend. The quote that ever popular online phrase, you don't pay my sub. You don't pay their sub. They can do what they want. If they don't want to enjoy the story and they just want to play the game for mechanics and glamours and housing and all the other fun stuff you can do, they're allowed to do that. So that's the second part. They shouldn't be. Are they? Unfortunately, yes. This is something the Final Fantasy community can be better about. I expect for a lot of people, it's like going into a barbecue place and saying, oh, I don't like the smell of smoke, but I love barbecue. And, some people's like, what do you mean you don't like the smell of smoke? In a barbecue place, smoking meat is a part of barbecue. What are you talking? So I mean, if you've ever been a part of barbecue culture, you know about the intensity. So I mean, you gotta understand that that's what it is. But you can't be better about it. You can want barbecue, but you cannot want to smell smoke for whatever reason. People are allowed to have that opinion, and I do think that's something the community can get better about. So yeah, I'll acknowledge that people being ridiculed for playing the game for something other than the story needs to be toned down a bit. Okay. The final part. The final thing I wanted to discuss, Final Fantasy XIV fans are bad at accepting criticism about the game. So this one I have a bit of a problem with, right? Because when you say criticism about the game, are you talking about the game's mechanics, or are you talking about the game as it is? Because, I mean, okay, so there's basically two types of criticism, right? There's criticism because you are what you are, and then there's criticism that, oh, I can do this thing's fixed, right? If it's criticism like, oh, it's about the game as itself, and like, oh, it's a weeb game, you're playing a weeb game, I can't take a weeb game seriously. I mean, like, well, calling first off, let me just say, calling someone a weeb because they play Final Fantasy XIV and it's Japanese is the same thing like calling someone Frenchy because they eat baguettes. I mean, you think about it. Do you know how stupid that is? I don't like to use the word stupid, but then that is extremely stupid. So I mean, I don't consider criticism like that valid, right? Maybe because possibly I am a gigantic weeb, but I don't take any shame in that. That they don't accept criticism that helps the game or about gameplay changes and stuff like that. Final Fantasy players will be the first ones to criticize the game. Yeah, Final Fantasy players will be the first ones to criticize the game. ARR is a slog. Drop rates are trash. Content loads are too long. Not enough raids. Gear could be better. Crafting is tedious. Housing is trash. I mean, all of those things come from within the community. That is not an outsider complaining about it. And a lot of people within the community will tell you, yes, housing could be better. Yes, this could be better. Yes, a lot of things could be better, and we need to do these things. And I mean, the thing is, we as a community are so blessed that we have devs who actually listen to us. Like, we can say something and we get it. I mean, look how long it'll take a while, because I mean, for years people have been saying, oh, ARR is a slog, ARR is so long, it's so tedious to play through ARR, right? For so long people have been saying that, and they're fixing it. And I mean, they probably would have fixed it by the time I launched this video, but they're fixing it in 5.3, you know? So I mean, when I hear the community can't accept criticism, from who and about what? We criticize ourselves constantly. We criticize the game we play constantly because we're doing it. You know, I mean, it really is a subjective thing. And I mean, even if it's someone complaining and saying, oh, ARR isn't a slog, I think it tells the story properly or whatever, I think they're once again a vocal minority, and once again an ant screaming into the darkness, and they should not be considered the voice of the entire community, in the same way that I probably shouldn't be considered the voice of the entire community. But I mean, I like to think most of my viewpoints on that are commonplace, you know. But yeah, you know, anyway, I think at this point I've rambled on for long enough. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitch. Follow your favorite L'Haim on Twitch. Follow Crow on Twitch. Follow Party on Twitch. Just follow the entire band of Sometimes. I hope I'm getting better at linking everyone's information in the video and everyone's video and everything. Yeah. So with that being said, see you later. Bye. Welcome to Costco. I love you.